Hey, what's going on, guys? John here at SOTA-Native. Best friend JoJo.
How y'all doing?
We figured we'd step in the kitchen a little bit and do some Vermillion chipotle snapper tacos for you. I make a type of pico. It's not a traditional pico de gallo or anything like that. I tend to use it a little bit more for seafood dishes. It's got a lot of citrus in it. Anyway, I'd like you to check it out. Like, subscribe, and as always, thanks for everything.
Let's get cooking.
Alright, so we're gonna dice up our tomatoes. I take the front side off where it hangs on the vine, lay them on their side, cut them nice and thin. Then we're gonna dice them up. Dice them up nice and fine. You want little fine pieces, that way you can get it on your chip, in your taco. I've already done 7 Romas already. My bowl's getting about up to the 3-quart line, which is about where I try to keep it. As we dice those up nice and fine, make sure you have a nice sharp knife. You don't need to be skipping off the skins. Dice them up. Okay, in our bowl. Then, traditionally they go with white onion. I like Vidalia onion. Vidalia onions are a little bit sweeter. So I'm gonna cut the front cap, cut the back cap, which I know is a no-no, split it in half. I might end up using the whole one. It just depends on how many tomatoes I got. Peel that first rind. Some people just peel the paper. I take the whole rind off because sometimes the rind is chewy. Okay, and then we're gonna cut it straight down. Nice thin slices. This is where you bring the wife in and tell her a sad story so it looks like you're crying. Okay, and we're just gonna go ahead and give it a nice, let's say finer chop.
Do you have any suggestions for people that can't cut like that?
Practice. Lots of practice.
What about like a chopper?
Yeah, I mean, you could do a chopper. You just got to make sure that you switch the plates out and get the finest chop you can in there. I mean, chunky salsa is good, but you don't want huge chunks of onion or huge chunks of tomato or anything like that, like that piece. You want it all kind of fine and, you know, as fine as you can get it without cutting yourself, let's say. I do want it big enough that it will have some flavor, that's for one thing. So we're gonna do the other half and then we'll give it a mix. Bubba, you grab me that spoon over there?
Yes, sir.
It's in the drawer.
Hurt.
I know Crystal said that because she's been wanting a chopper for a while. That's why we're talking about choppers.
It's all purpose. That's what I explained. It's all about technique.
So we're about a half a onion, half large Vidalia actually in, and I mean, thank you. You can see the mixture of white and red in there. So I'm probably gonna stop with the onion. You can obviously add more if you want. Crystal's not a huge fan of onion, so we're gonna go ahead and stop there. It looks like it's plenty. And then JoJo has his way of cutting up bells, I cut them totally different. I go down the sides like this, like that. That way she's done. I don't have to worry about it no more. And then again, we're gonna julienne them one way, and then we're gonna finally dice them. I would, you can put jalapeno in if you want. I use the bell pepper because I want the peppery, kind of like the peppery taste without the heat. So I tend to use a little bit more green bell, and I'll throw some yellow bell in there just for, you know, for you to look at. So it looks nice and pretty. Then we're gonna move into cilantro. I already have some yellow bells diced up from last night's dinner, so we're just gonna go ahead and throw those in just because they're there. You don't have to put yellows. I like the confetti, the white, the green, the yellow, especially when you start getting into like doing fish and snapper and things like that. You know, the presentation is everything. When you got, this will be good for football. You can make a big bowl of it. It lasts a little while. It's got a nice lemony flavor. Again, I said this was not a traditional pico de gallo at all. This is just the way I like to do it. So we'll burn through this real quick, and then right onto the cilantro. All right, so we're moving on to cilantro. I have 2 bunches of cilantro, a whole green bell, a half a yellow bell, a half a large Vidalia onion. So we're gonna go maybe a bunch and a half, I'm not too sure. The good thing about the cilantro is we are going to make a cilantro ranch to put on top of our snapper tacos. So I'm gonna dice it all up. We're just gonna kind of go with it from there. And I like a little bit of a finer chop. That way the smell and the flavor gets out of it a little bit better. So I almost want it to look like cut grass. I don't want huge chunks of, you know, whole leaves in there. Because the whole leaves, you get a bite of a cilantro leaf, sometimes it can get a little, what do they say, soapy. You get that little bit of a soapy taste to it. This way it's nice and fine, and I'll run back over everything just to make 100% sure. Just keep grabbing the ones that want to run away. So nice and fine, like cut grass. Right in on top. I think we're gonna need a little bit more than that, so I'm gonna just dice it all up.
Well, the recipe for your cilantro ranch doesn't need that much.
So we don't need a ton of that cilantro ranch like Joe was saying, so, or a bunch of cilantro in the ranch, so I'll probably end up using most of it. And then we'll save. How's that look? Is that about good for your ranch?
For sure.
Okay, so we'll throw that off into a bowl. And then the rest of it can go in here. Again, this is preference. You don't have to put this much cilantro. I like the taste of it, especially when it's paired with fish. But you could also put habaneros. You can do Thai chilies. You can do, I mean, you can pretty much get as hot as you really want to get. If you are, make sure you're wearing gloves because the capsaicin will seek into your fingers and then you touch your eyes and you'll be hating life for a little while. Okay, we're gonna give that a nice little mix. All those colors look nice and pretty, and we're gonna move on to lemons and limes. So I like to roll my lemons and roll my limes to help pull the juice away from the the actual flesh. So a little pressure, and I just roll them till you feel them start getting soft. And we split it in half. Put it upside down, that side goes up. Squeeze it in. And sometimes you get a lot of juice from a lemon, sometimes you don't get a lot of juice from a lemon. So I always have more than I need. Roll that guy. Throw him in. That might be enough. We'll go with one small one on that. 3 lemons. That one's already pretty soft.
Which I think a lot of people can just do, you know, taste.
Yeah,
taste
to
it.
taste.
Yeah.
To taste, 100%. Again, lemon goes well with seafood, everybody knows that. So this is gonna be more like a, I don't know, almost like ceviche mix more than it is a pico. So it's kind of a mix. It's my take on it. So the limes are definitely a little bit harder. So give them a good roll till you feel them start getting soft and balloony. That means all that moisture's come out of them. Some limes can be more potent than others. So that's a ton of juice from one lime. So I probably will just put this one in. Then we're gonna salt and pepper. Salt and pepper is the key. If it doesn't have salt and pepper, it's not gonna taste right. So we're gonna go in probably a little bit heavier on the salt.
It smells so good already.
I'm gonna go in with some salt, fine ground salt. I know I got a fancy little auto grinder, but so salt, and then we're gonna make the pepper a little bit coarser so you get that peppery bite. Can you grab me the hand grinder out of there, please? Could be right in front. Just on the other side of the olive oil. To the right. Tip. No. Yeah. So it's gonna be much faster. Okay. So then we gotta mix all that in, and we're gonna let all those flavors, we're gonna put it in the refrigerator. Kind of mash those tomatoes and peppers and all that stuff together with the backside of your spoon. And we're gonna let that sit in the fridge while we're doing our taco mix, just to get nice and happy.
All right, as Bubba's over here, fine dicing this cilantro up. You want it nice and nice and nice, as fine as you can get. As you see, this nice skills over there, he's getting it as fine as possible.
Almost like pesto.
Yeah, you want it as thin as possible because you want to incorporate this, especially when you're making, you know, cilantro ranch. So as we do this, we're gonna start off with a little bit of ranch. Got the Hidden Valley's preference-wise. If you like Publix brand, do whatever. I like Hidden Valley. I think it has a way better, like, ranchy taste to it. So we're gonna use the majority of this bottle here. We're not gonna use all of it. We're gonna use the majority of it though. So about 1 or 2 pops, about half a bottle there. One little key ingredient that I like to use is some Daisy sour cream. Gotta have the dollop. So one nice little spoon of cream. This is gonna help give them the nice thickness. And sour cream goes good with tacos. So whenever he's ready for that, you can go ahead and incorporate your cilantro.
On all of it?
As much as you can get, sir. Oh yeah. Perfect.
There you go.
I'm gonna get that in there. Yeah. Now we're gonna go ahead and just start whipping all that together. Yeah, we're cooking. See how nice and green it's turning? And then that sour cream is gonna get it nice and thicker.
You want a splash of pepper in there?
Sure. Beautiful. This right here, we're gonna incorporate that in a squeeze bottle. If you don't have a squeeze bottle, it's fine. We just like to make sure that we get a good consistency on all our tacos. This is your cilantro ranch. Hope you enjoy it.
So for these tacos, we're gonna go ahead and dice up some snapper. I got some Vermillion, absolutely beautiful snapper. We're just gonna dice it up. I don't want it too small and I don't want it too big. I've already checked for pin bones. Always check for pin bones. So So we're just gonna give it a nice little coarse dice here. So I can show you, there's a nice little chunk. If you do it too fine, it's gonna wanna turn into paste. If you do it too big, then the tacos will be too full and you won't really get a good bite out of it. So we're just gonna kind of rough chop this here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and throw all this in there. We're gonna grab some chipotle. Slide that off into the sink there. All right, so chipotle, we're gonna give a nice little bit in there. We're gonna mix it around, make sure it's nicely coated. And get that smoky flavor of those ripe jalapenos.
So would you think this is more or less like on the spicy side?
It's gonna be. Chipotle's not really hot. It can get hot when you put too much in it, but the really hot stuff is this cayenne. And tacos are meant to be spicy. We got a ranch going on top of them, so they'll cool down. So we're gonna go ahead and throw us a little bit of cayenne. You don't want to go nuts with this stuff because it will get way too hot too fast. And just mix it around. Make sure you don't get one piece that's just loaded with cayenne pepper. And that's gonna make a few tacos for us. And then I got some butter over here that's starting to soften right over here in the skillet. I think I might have to crank the temp up just a little bit. We're gonna want this butter to be kind of bubbling when we go ahead and drop our fish in. So we got our butter nice and hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw my snapper pieces right on in here. You want them to sizzle. You don't want to have them sit in there and just hang out. You want them to start cooking as soon as they hit the pan. Otherwise you get they start getting soft. I kind of want to speed up the cooking process. So we're gonna start turning up the heat here.
So about how long would you cook these for?
Well, it all depends on the size of the dice. I mean, a couple minutes all the way up to 5-10, just kind of depends on, as you can see, I just threw them in, and these little small guys are already almost done. They're just going to take a flip, and the bigger ones are going to take a little bit more time. You definitely don't want to overdo it. You overdo it, it's going to get dry and just not as good as you'd want it to be. So once I kind of get this going here, see how they're already crusting on the edges. So we're going to give them a nice little flip, mix them around.
So what about for people that haven't cooked fish? How would they know that it's done?
It starts to turn white and gets firm. So you can see it's starting to get soft. It's a little bit more firm than this. This wants to smush down inside, and this is a nice little firm. You can eat Vermillion Snapper. You can eat it raw. You can eat pretty much any fish raw as long as it's not a wormy fish. And I've seen people eat grouper raw, grouper belly, off of gags. So, I mean, just see how that's turning like a nice white flaky.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost done. It's literally almost done. We can, so at this point, if you wanted to taste a small piece, you could figure out whether you want to go a little bit heavier on the chipotle, or maybe you want a little bit more cayenne for some heat. Get in here, get a nice little small piece. Be careful, it's hot. I'm gonna go a little bit more chipotle, just a touch. That butter kind of flattened out some of that chipotle seasoning. And crank the heat up a little bit. It's almost done. Start caramelizing that butter, and then the shells. So I don't want to go too much. If you go too much, it's going to get nasty. It's going to get too soft. I think we're all right. Before we go any further, we're gonna add a little splash of some white wine, Pinto Grigio. Tend to keep a little bit when we're doing fish. Just a little bit, you don't want a ton. That's gonna add plenty of flavor. Like a citrus.
That smells good now.
I'll tip her off, she's done. Now, it definitely will clear your sinuses out with that cayenne and chipotle. We're gonna go ahead and start plating her up. All right, so we're ready to plate. We got tacos, or our snapper here ready to go into our tacos. I'm gonna take a nice spoonful, fill her up. Another nice little, some more. And spread it around. We got fresh corn tortillas from the Spanish market down the road here. Those are always the best handmade. You can definitely get store-bought, but with a fish like Vermillion Snapper, you definitely want to play it up just a little bit. And we got all of it there. So we're gonna come in with our homemade pico. Give it a nice little mix. She's been in the refrigerator for a little bit here. So it's nice and cool. So we're gonna take a nice little bowl of that. You can always add more.
That looks so good.
Okay, and then I'm gonna lean the bowl a little bit to the side. That's gonna get me that lemon and lime juice. We're gonna lay a little bit of topping right on there. Just like that. My problem is always trying to overstuff them. A little bit more lime juice, lemon juice in there. Okay, and then we're gonna give us a nice little handful of chips on the side here. Boom. Now, our chipotle ranch. We're just gonna flip the bottle up and we're gonna give her a little bit of a drizzle. Oh, it's clogged. No. No.
Wow, well, you fixed that one. Sorry, guys.
Give it a nice little drizzle of.
Do it again.
Yep. Give it a nice little drizzle. Chopped up again. That's why it's so important to get that as thin as possible, that cilantro. All right. So, chipotle, cayenne, Vermillion Snapper with a homemade pico and a side of chips. I definitely think my man Joe's got to try this one.
Oh yes. Gotta wait for this. Oh yes. Oh, look how juicy that is too.
Thanks, guys. Hope you try it. Leave a comment.
Oh yeah.